Hello and welcome to the program. I am Adeshewa Josh. Let's take you through some of the major headlines around the world this hour. We have to start in India, where the international media is going to gog over this story. Two India policemen, as a matter of fact, have lost their jobs for failing to help search for two missing girls who were later found gang-raped and hanged in the northern state of Uttar Pradesh. Well, police say the officers were also charged with criminal conspiracy and that 3 people have been arrested so far. The government has pledged to set up a fast-track court to prosecute the crime, which took place earlier this week.
Indian police on Friday arrested 2 of the suspects who allegedly gang-raped 2 teenage girls and hung them from a tree in northern state of Uttar Pradesh. The 2 cousins, who were from a low-caste Dalit community, went missing from their village home in Uttar Pradesh's Badaun district on Tuesday evening. The following morning, villagers found the body of the 2 teenagers hanging from a mango tree in a nearby orchard. Senior Superintendent of Police of Badaun, Atul Saxena, said the 2 suspects have been arrested and the hunt for the 3rd one is still on. The post-mortem report confirmed the 2 minors were raped and died from the hanging. The victims' families say the girls were gang-raped and then hanged by 5 men from the village. They allege that the local police were shielding the attackers as they refused to take action when the girls were first reported missing. The father of one of the victims demanded an inquiry by Federal Police Crime Bureau of Investigation. Activists say sex crimes against young girls and women are widespread in India, adding that females from poor, marginalized, low-caste communities are often the victims. Public outrage over the fatal gang rape of a woman in New Delhi in September 2012 pushed the government into passing a tougher new law to punish sex crimes. This includes sentences of up to 2 years in jail for police and hospital authorities if they fail to register a complaint or treat a victim.
Arul Pandey from The Voice of America joins us now to talk more on this matter. Thanks a lot for joining us on the program. Now, 2 sisters gang-raped and hanged in Uttar Pradesh. What more do we know about this terrible, dehumanizing act?
Well, I think a lot of the anger is not just about the act, but the police response to it, as was mentioned in the report. When the family members first went to the police to report the girls missing, the officers allegedly refused to file a complaint, and it took a lot of protest. In fact, the villagers went underneath the tree and gathered, dozens of villagers gathered underneath the tree while the bodies of the girls were still hanging to protest, and they wouldn't let the bodies come down from the tree until something was done. So I think this horrific crime not only spotlights sexual violence in India, continued sexual violence, but the lack of response by both law enforcement and the judiciary. And as you mentioned, the 2 constables have been fired. That was announced today. They've been fired, the ones who refused to initially file the complaint and search for those who committed this brutal crime.
I mean, these 2 cousins is one of many that has happened in India. Why is sexual violence so endemic in India, despite government's efforts to stem this terrible act?
Well, there's several different reasons. I mean, I don't think there's one reason that you can point to. First of all, India has traditionally been a patriarchal society. Another is the fact that if you just look at the population of India, more 1.3 billion. The population of Uttar Pradesh in itself is 200 million people. So you look at the population, you look at the societal norms. Women have made great strides in India, but there still is this perception, this lack of equality per se, and this perception of how women are treated in India. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at systematically. I don't think we can point to one reason as to why these rapes and sexual assaults keep happening.
I mean, talking about the society you mentioned, talk to us more about the lower caste. How badly is it really for these people in this cadre in India? Because the father of one of the victims reported that he went to the police and he was thrown aside because he belongs to the lower caste in India.
That is also becoming an issue I mentioned, is India's most populous state. It's also very diverse, people from different socioeconomic classes, but also different castes. And yes, this victim and the victim's family is from the Dalit caste, or the lowest caste. There's this perception that upper caste Indians, they might have been targeted because girls or families from lower castes are targeted more often because they are from the lower caste. It's hard to many different perceptions of what happened and why it happened. I don't think we can easily typecast because they're a lower caste family, they were attacked, but it's certainly something that threatens to exacerbate.
Well, we do apologize for the technical difficulty we're having with this call, but this is an interesting topic and we'll keep an eye on it. Thanks a lot, Aru Pandey from the Voice of America, speaking to us more on this terrible act in India.